This is Tom Tayback. Welcome to Rock and Roll Showcase as we cover part one of one-hit wonders from the 50s. In other words, artists who only charted one hit song or the rest of their songs were completely overshadowed by the one hit. In this program, we'll focus on songs from 1955 to 1958. Some will have you scratching your head asking why just one hit and out. In other cases, the absolute novelty of the song will indicate why the success was not repeated. We'll begin with Let Me Go Lover by Joan Weber from 1955, written by Jenny Lou Carson and Al Hill. It was based on another song called Let Me Go Devil about alcoholism. It was introduced on the TV show Studio One, specifically to show how efficiently a song could be promoted on television. It was eventually covered by Patti Page, Teresa Brewer, and Lucille Ball. Here's the Joan Weber version, Let Me Go Lover.
From your spell, you made me weep, cut me deep, I can't sleep, lover. I was cursed from the first day I found. You don't want me, but you want me to go on wanting you. How I pray that you will say that we're through. Please turn me loose, what's the use? Let me go, lover. Let me go, let me go, let me go. You made me weep, cut me deep, I can't sleep, lover. From the first day I found. You don't want me, but you want me to go on wanting you. How I pray that you will say that we're through. Please turn me loose, what's the use? Let me go, lover. Let me go, let me go, let me go.
Blue Suede Shoes is most often associated with Elvis Presley, but it was first and even bigger hit for the writer Carl Perkins. It was considered one of the first rockabilly songs, incorporating elements of blues, country, and pop. When Perkins played a dance on December 4th, 1955, he noticed a couple dancing near the stage. Between songs, he heard the guy very sternly chastising his partner for stepping on his shoes. That night, Perkins wrote the song on brown paper from a potato sack. Funny thing is, he didn't know how to spell Suede, so the title on the paper read S-W-A-D-E. Perkins was booked to appear doing his hit song on the Perry Como Show, but crashed his car on the way. His brother died, and Carl Perkins turned to writing hits for other artists like Elvis.
One for the money, two for the show, three to get ready. Now go, cat, go, but don't you step on my blue suede shoes. You can do anything but get off of my blue suede shoes. Well, you can knock me down, step in my face, slander my name all over the place, and do anything that you wanna do. But honey, lay off of my shoes, and don't you step on my blue suede shoes. You can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoes. Oh, go, cat. My house, steal my car, drink my liquor from my old fruit jar, do anything that you wanna do. But honey, lay off of them shoes, and don't you step on my blue suede shoes. You can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoes. Right. for the show. It's free to get ready. Now go, cat, go, but don't you step on my blue suede shoe. You can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoe. That's blue, blue, blue suede shoe. Blue, blue, blue suede shoe. Yeah, blue, blue, blue suede shoe, baby. Blue, blue, blue suede shoe. You can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoe.
Our next one-hit wonder was written by Bo Diddley under his wife's name, Ethel Smith. It was recorded by Bo Diddley and Buddy Holly, but did not become a hit until the rhythm and blues duet of Mickey and Sylvia did it in 1956. Over the years, Sylvia Robinson and Mickey Baker claimed to have written the lyrics, which was always refuted by Bo Diddley, who only needed to show that he had actually recorded it first. This song is noted for its long spoken dialogue. Here's Love is Strange by Mickey and Sylvia.
Love is strange. Yeah, yeah. Lot of people take it for a game. Once you get it, you never wanna quit. No, no. After you've had it, yeah, yeah. You're in an awful fix. Many people don't understand. No, no. They think loving is money in the hand. Your sweet loving is better than a kiss. When you leave me, sweet kisses I miss.
Sylvia,
Yes, Mickey.
how you call your lover boy?
Come here, lover boy.
And if he doesn't answer?
Oh, lover boy.
And if he still doesn't answer?
I simply say, baby. Oh, baby. My sweet baby. You're the one. Baby. Oh, baby. My sweet baby. You're the one.
Mary Ann, M-A-R-Y-A-N-N, was written in 1945 by Calypso artist Hubert Raphael Charles during a celebration of VJ Day in Trinidad. During the 1956-57 American Calypso craze, the song was recorded by the East Riders and Burl Ives, changing the name to Mary Ann, M-A-R-I-A-N-N-E. But it didn't become a hit until recorded by Terry Gilkyson in 1957 when it topped out at number 4. Later in 57, it also hit number 3 by the Hilltoppers. But in the realm of one-hit wonders, here's the Terry Gilkyson version of Mary Ann.
All day, all night, Mary Ann, down by the seaside, sifting sand. Even little children love Mary Ann, down by the seaside, sifting sand. Mary Ann, oh, won't you marry me? We can have a bamboo hut and brandy in the tea. Leave your fat old mama home, she never will say yes. If mama don't know now, she can guess. My, yes. All day, all night, Mary Ann, down by the seaside, sifting sand. Even little children love Mary Ann, down by the seaside, sifting sand. When she walks along the shore, people pause to greet. White birds fly around her, little fish come to her feet. In her heart is love, but I'm the only mortal man who's allowed to kiss my Mary Ann. Don't rush me. All day, all night, Mary Ann, down by the seaside sifting sand. Even little children love Marianne, down by the seaside sifting sand. When we marry, we will have a time you never saw. I will be so happy, I will kiss me mother-in-law. Phooey! Children by the dozen in and out the bamboo hut, one for every palm tree and pokey nut. Hurry up now! All day, all night, Marianne, down by the seaside sifting sand. Even little children love Marianne, down by the seaside sifting sand.
You're listening to Rock and Roll Showcase. Tom Tayback here as we continue with part one of one-hit wonders from the 50s. This next song was actually a top 5 for 3 different artists. In other words, a great song written by Bob Crewe, the same Bob Crewe, that is, who penned hit after hit for Frankie Valli years later. He saw this couple embracing behind a window shade as he passed through town on a train. This was the 3rd single he wrote for the Rays, but their only true hit, reaching number 3 on the charts. It charted again for the Diamonds out of Canada and again for Herman's Hermits out of England in the 60s. Here are the Rays with Silhouettes.
Silhouettes on the shade. Oh, what a lovely couple they made. Put his arms around your waist, held you tight, kisses I could almost taste. In the night, wondered why I'm not the guy whose silhouettes on the shade. I couldn't hide the tears in my eyes. Silhouette, 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 oh, silhouette, 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 lost control and rang your bell. I was sore. In or else I'll beat down your door. When 2 strangers who had been 2 silhouettes on the shade said to my shop, you're on the wrong block. Rushed down to your house with wings on my feet. Loved you like I never loved you, my sweet. Vowed that you and I would be 2 silhouettes on the shade. All of our days, 2 silhouettes on the shade. Silhouette, 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 oh, silhouette, 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 2 silhouettes on the shade.
Little Bitty Pretty One was written and originally recorded by Bobby Day of Hollywood, California. A very popular song with other artists, it was covered by Frankie Avalon, Frankie Lyman, Clyde McPhatter, the Dave Clark 5, the Jackson 5, Huey Lewis and the News, and the Doobie Brothers. But it was only a major chart success and a one-hit wonder for Thurston Harris when it hit number 6 in 1957. Our next one-hit wonder from the 50s was a rock and roll doo-wop song written by Artie Singer, John Medora, and David White. It was originally released by Danny and the Juniors, who had several other hits, and it became one of the top-selling singles in 1958. The song experienced a resurgence in prominence two more times. First in 1969 when Sha Na Na performed it at Woodstock, and again in 1973 in the American Graffiti movie by Flash Cadillac and the Continental Kids. This song was so catchy, it was a one-hit wonder for Nick Todd in 1958, even after Danny and the Juniors took it to number one the same year. It was later covered by the likes of Elvis Presley and the Beach Boys. Here's At the Hop by Nick Todd.
You can rock it, you can roll it, do the stop and even stroll it at the hop, 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 hop. When the record starts to spin and you calypso with your chicken at the hop, 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 hop. Do the dance sensation that's sweeping the nation at the hop, 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 hop. Let's go to the hop,
oh baby.
Let's go to the hop,
Oh baby.
Let's go to the hop,
Oh baby.
Let's go to the hop. Let's go to the hop. Well, you can swing it, you can groove it, you can really start to move it at the hop. Where the jumping is the smoothest and the music is the coolest at the hop. All the cats and the chicks can get their kicks at the hop. Let's go! Let's go to the hop.
Oh baby.
Let's go to the hop.
Oh baby.
Let's go to the hop.
Oh baby.
Let's go to the hop. Let's go to the hop. Rock it, you can roll it, you can stop and even stroll it at the hop, 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 hop. When the record starts to spin and you calypso with your chicken at the hop, 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 hop. Do the dance sensation that is sweeping the nation at the hop, 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 hop. You can swing it, you can groove it, you can really start to move it at the hop. Where the jumping is the smoothest and the music is the coolest at the hop. All the cats and the chicks can get their kicks at the hop. Let's go! Let's go to the hop.
Oh baby.
Let's go to the hop.
Oh baby.
Let's go to the hop.
Oh baby.
Let's go to the hop. Let's go to the hop.
Get a Job is one of the best-known rock and roll doo-wop songs of all time. It was written by the team of Earl Beale, Raymond Edwards, Richard Lewis, and William Horan, better known as the Silhouettes. The song hit number one in February of 1958. Richard Lewis wrote the lyrics based on his coming home after the service and not getting a job right away. This did not set well with his mother, who basically said to him one day, "Get a job." In this case, the one-hit wonder was created when the Silhouettes performed the song several times on Dick Clark's American Bandstand. This also helped the single sell well over 1 million copies. It's so well known that it's been used in the soundtracks of American Graffiti, Stand By Me, Trading Places, and Joey, as well as numerous commercials.
You made me money about this time. She get me out of my bed and crying for a job. You wrap the breakfast every day. She know the one and ran my way. I never felt the same. Well, when I get the paper, I read it through and through, and my girl never fails to say, if there is any work for me, I then go back to the house, hear that woman's mouth, preaching and crying, tell me that I'm lying about a job that I never could find. Sha-la-la, sha-la-la-la. Well, hear the woman smile, preaching and crying, tell me that I'm lying about a job that I never could find.
The Book of Love was written by Warren Davis, George Malone, and Charles Patrick, a.k.a. the Monotones. It peaked at number 3 and was followed up with about 11 more songs, none of which had any success at all. They were all residents of the Baxter Terrace Housing Project in Newark, New Jersey, and began singing with the New Hope Baptist Choir, directed by Sissy Houston. Yes, the mother of Whitney Houston. The Monotones launched their career with an appearance on Ted Mack's Amateur Hour, winning first prize. The group disbanded shortly thereafter in 1962, and in 1988, The Book of Love became the theme song for the Newlywed Game.
I wonder who wrote the Book of Love? Tell me, who wrote the Book of Love? I've got to know the answer. Was it someone from above? I wonder who wrote the Book of Love? I love you, darling, baby, you know I do. But I've got to see this Book of Love, find out why it's true. I wonder who wrote the Book of Love? Chapter 1 says the lover, you love her with all your heart. Chapter 2, you tell her, you never, ever gonna part. In chapter 3, remember the meaning of romance. In chapter 4, you break up, but you give her just one more chance. Oh, I wonder who wrote the Book of Love? Baby, I love you, yes I do. Well, it says so in this Book of Love, ours is the one that's true. I wonder who wrote the Book of Love? Chapter 1 says to lover, you love her with all your heart. Chapter 2, you tell her, you never, ever gonna part. In chapter 3, remember the meaning of romance. In chapter 4, you break up, but you give her just one more chance. Oh, I wonder who wrote the Book of Love? Baby, I love you, yes I do. Well, it says so in this Book of Love, ours is the one that's true. Wonder who wrote the Book of Love? I wonder who wrote the Book of Love?
You're listening to Rock and Roll Showcase, One-Hit Wonders from the 50s, Part 1. In 1958, the husband and wife team of Art and Dottie Todd were the resident act at the Chapman Park Hotel in Los Angeles. They were basically veterans of the California lounge circuit. Wayne Shanklin gave them a song that he wrote, and he called it Chanson d'Amour. It basically got a lot of airplay because many radio DJs simply hated rock and roll, enough so that this song hit number 6.
Every time I hear chanson, chanson d'amour.
When it comes to one-hit wonders, I'd be remiss not to include the ever-popular novelty songs. In June of 1958, Sheb Willy wrote and recorded a song. He would later go on to a prolific acting career. He was Pete Nolan in Rawhide with Clint Eastwood, and he was Cletus, the high school principal in Hoosiers with Gene Hackman. But before the acting, Sheb Willy gave us a #1 hit, The Purple People Eater. MGM Records initially rejected the song, but employees found the acetate and played it during lunch. The front office did take notice of the response the recording got and reluctantly released this classic.
Well, I saw the thing coming out of the sky. It had a one long horn and one big eye. I commenced to shaking and I said, ooh-wee. It looks like a purple people eater to me. It was a one-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater.
One-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater.
A one-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater sure looks strange to me.
One-eyed?
Well, he came down to earth and he lit in the tree. I said, Mr. Purple People Eater, don't eat me. I heard him say in a voice so gruff,
I wouldn't eat you 'cause you're so tough.
it was a one-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater.
One-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater.
One-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater sure looks strange to me.
One-horn?
I said, Mr. Purple People Eater, what's your line? He said, eating purple people and it sure is fine. But that's not the reason that I came to land.
I want to get a job in a rock and roll band.
Well, bless my soul, rock and roll, flying purple people eater. Pigeon-toed, undergrowth, flying purple people eater.
He wears short shorts.
Friendly little people eater. What a sight to see. And then he swung from the tree and he lit on the ground and he started to rock, but really rocking around. It was a crazy ditty with a swinging tune.
Sing a bop, bop, a boop, a lap, a loom, bam, boom.
Well, bless my soul, rock and roll, flying purple people eater. Pigeon-toed, undergrowth, flying purple people eater.
I like short shorts.
Flying purple people eater. What a sight to see.
Purple people.
Well, he went on his way and then what do you know? I saw him last night on a TV show. He was blowing it out, really knocking him dead, playing rock and roll music through the horn in his head.
Tequila.
Ex-Marine Ed Townsend wrote this next song and took it to Capitol Records hoping that Nat King Cole would record it. While waiting, Dick Clark invited him to sing the song live on Bandstand. It was an overnight success and his only hit, topping out at number 13. Later on, he would team up with Marvin Gaye to write Let's Get It On. Here's For Your Love.
For your love, oh, I would do anything. I would do anything for your love, or your kiss. Oh, I I would go anywhere. I would go anywhere for your kiss. More foolish I grow with each heartbeat, but we all get foolish. That's why I repeat, or your love, oh, I would do anything.
Johnny Otis wrote this next Novelty song and released it in 1958. It's all about a man who dances with his hands. The result? A number 9 hit. Later, he would write a handful of hits for other artists, including Every Beat of My Heart for Gladys Knight and So Fine for the Fiestas. Eventually, he walked away from the music business, reassuming his birth name of Alexandros Veliotis to become chief of staff for a California congressman. Johnny Otis wrote and performed Willy and the Hand Jive.
I know a cat named Way Out Willie. He got a cool little chick named Rockin' Billy. He can walk and stroll in Susie Q and do that crazy hand jive too. Papa told Willie, you'll ruin my home. You and that hand jive has got to go. Willie said, Papa, don't put me down. They're doing that hand jive all over town. Hand jive, hand jive, hand jive, doing that crazy hand jive. Mama, look at Uncle Joe. He's doing that hand jive with Sister Flo. Grandma gave baby sister time. Said, do that hand jive one more time. Doctor and a lawyer and an Indian chief. Now they all dig that crazy beat. Way Out Willie gave them all a treat. When he did that hand jive with his feet. Hand jive, hand jive, hand jive, doing that crazy hand jive. Hey, hey. Now, Willie and Millie got married last fall. They had a little Willie Jr. and Daddy and all. Well, the baby got famous in his crib, you see. Doing the hand jive on TV. Hand jive, hand jive, hand jive, doing that crazy hand jive. Hey, hey.
You're listening to Rock and Roll Showcase featuring one-hit wonders from the 50s, Part 1. In 1958, Vito Piccone and Arthur Venosa co-wrote a song adapted from Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. They then recorded the song with Frank Tardagno, Carmen Romano, and James Mocella in Staten Island. Before this song became a hit, the group, who called themselves the Elegance, performed under the boardwalk by their homes for tips. The song, Little Star, hit number 1, spending 19 weeks on the charts and selling over 1 million copies. As Little Star dominated radio play, the Elegance toured with Buddy Holly, Dion, Chuck Berry, and Jerry Lee Lewis. Subsequent singles never charted at all. Why? The Elegance refused to pay for more turntable time. This one-hit wonder is an example of what happened to some artists who refused to participate in payola, thus resulting in no more airplay.
Where are you, little star?
Where are you?
Oh, ra-da-da-da-da-doo. Oh, ra-da-da-da-da-doo.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. Wish I may, wish I might make this wish come true tonight. Searched all over for a love, you're the one I'm thinking of. Oh, ra-da-da-da-da-doo. Oh, ra-da-da-da-da-doo. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. High above the clouds somewhere, send me down a lovely trip. Oh, ra-da-da-da-da-doo. Oh, ra-da-da-da-da-doo. Oh, there you are, high above. Oh, God, send me love. Oh, there you are, lighting up the sky. I need a love. Oh, my. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. Wish I may, wish I might make this wish come true tonight. Oh, ra-da-da-da-doo. Oh, ra-da-da-da-doo. Oh, ra-da-da-da-doo. There you are, little star.
Born Too Late was written by Charles Strauss and Fred Tobias in 1958. Strauss would go on to write songs for the Broadway musical Bye Bye Birdie and Once Upon a Time, recorded by Bobby Darin. His film scores included Bonnie and Clyde. His TV theme songs included Those Were the Days for All in the Family. But before all of that, there was a little rock and roll song which became a one-hit wonder for the Ponytails, Tony Sistoni, Karen Topinka, and Patty McCabe out of Brush High School in Cleveland. It hit number 11 in 1958.
Too late for you to notice me. To you, I'm just a kid that you won't date. Why was I born too late? Or too late to have a chance to win your love. Oh, why was it my fate to be born too late? I see you walk with another
Now remember Bobby Day, who wrote the one-hit wonder for Thurston Harris called Little Bitty Pretty One? This time Bobby Day records a song written by Leon Renee under the pseudonym Jimmy Thomas. It was Bobby Day's only hit as a recording artist, and it was such a surprise that when the touring requests started rolling in, the record company had to quickly put a group together for him. You see, the original song was recorded with session musicians in Hollywood, but on the road it was Bobby Day and the Hollywood Flames, who moved to Hollywood from Fort Worth when he was just 15 years old. How high did this song chart for Bobby Day? It hit number 1. He would stay in the music business as a composer, writing over and over for the Dave Clark 5, and success came in many different ways. In 2012 and 13, his uncharted recording of Beat 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 became the soundtrack for a Kia Sorrento TV commercial. Here's Rockin' Robin by Bobby Day.
All the day long, hopping and a bopping and a singing his song. All the little birds on Jaybird Street love to hear the robin go tweet, tweet, tweet. Rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet, rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet. Blow rockin' Robin, 'cause we really gonna rock 'em tonight. Every little swallow, every chickadee, every little bird in the tall oak tree. The wise or loud, the big black crow, flap of their wings, sing and go, bird, go. Rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet, rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet. Go, rockin' Robin, 'cause we're really gonna rock tonight. A pretty little raven at the birds and sand, talking like a the bump and it's one grand. They started going steady and bless my soul. He out popped the buzzard and the Oreo. He rocks in the treetop all the day long, hopping and a popping and a singing his song. All the little birds on Jaybird Street love to hear the robin go tweet, tweet, tweet. Rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet, rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet. Slow rockin' Robin, 'cause we're really gonna rock tonight. Well, the pretty little raven at the birds and sand caught him out to the pop and it was grand. They started going steady and bless my soul. He out popped the buzzard and the Oreo. He rocks in the treetop all the day long, hopping and a bopping and a singing his song. All the little birds on Jaybird Street love to hear the robin go tweet, tweet, tweet. Rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet, rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet. Slow rockin' Robin, 'cause we're really gonna rock tonight.
Inspired by words on his father's tombstone, Phil Spector wrote this next song, which became a one-hit wonder for the Teddy Bears, the only vocal group he was ever a member of. To Know Him Is to Love Him hit number 1 in 1958. The other Teddy Bears, Marshall Lieb, Annette Kleinbard, and Sandy Nelson. Fresh out of Fairfax High School in Los Angeles, they recorded this song for ERA Records at a cost of $75. It stayed on the Billboard Hot 100 for 23 weeks, and at 19 years old, Phil Spector had written, arranged, played, sung, and produced the best-selling record in the country. Within a year, he disbanded the group. Spector, of course, went on to produce many more hits. Annette Kleinbard changed her name to Carol Connors and went on to co-write Hey Little Cobra for the Ripcords and the Oscar-nominated Rocky theme, Gonna Fly Now.
Know him is to love, love, love him. Just to see him smile makes my life worthwhile. To know him is to love, love, love him. And I do, 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 and I do. is to love, love him. Just to see him smile makes my life worthwhile. To know him is to love him, and I do.
You've been listening to Rock and Roll Showcase featuring one-hit wonders from the 50s, Part 1. I'm Tom Tayback. Thanks for listening.